Hello, Manoj. We are live. Can you hear me clearly? Hello.
Hello, hi, bro.
Yeah. Can you hear me clearly, Manoj?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Okay, great. We are live actually. Sorry, we are a few minutes late. So we'll first, I think, quickly jump into the game and then we'll have our chat, I think, between the break between this and the next game. Yeah. So let me share my screen. So to all the viewers, welcome to Chess Gaja's channel. We are live with the finals of the World Cup and tiebreakers, and I'm joined by Stand-Up Comic Manoj. Happy to have you on today's show, Manoj.
Hello, hi, bro.
Great.
Nice
So
to
let
meet
me share screen. Please confirm if you're able to see my screen.
you. Yeah, I'm able to see your
Okay,
screen.
great. So we
My
are, as we can
video
see,
is
they have
not.
played a few moves. So, but your video is not visible, Manoj.
I
It's
don't know
like a
what.
orange screen kind of a thing it's showing up.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Or maybe reshare with specific.
Yeah, 1 minute. I'll join again.
Sure. So as Manoj is joining again, I hope the viewers can see the board. I'm just positioning it exactly on the board so that, the other parts of it is not distracted. So we've got about 7 to 8 moves in, and today's, rapid format tie break to start with. So we have Sindarov playing white. It's a 15 plus, I think 5 time control. So we had a d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5, knight c3, bishop b4. Basically, a Ragozin in Queen's Gambit declined.
Hi, bro.
And
I'm back.
yes, are you logged in from two devices, Manoj, or
No,
one?
no, no, no. Only
Only
one.
one? Maybe I'll remove your other device because it's
Okay. Sure. Oh, just two accounts. We're done.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Can you see the screen clearly?
Yeah, I'm able to see.
Okay. And let me. Okay, great. So they just played basically Queen's Gambit declined, and normally Queen A4 is very popular, but they went for the other main line, which is Bishop G5,
Yeah.
H6, Bishop F6, Queen F6, E3, Castle, Rook C1, Knight D7, and then Queen B3. So maybe we'll go to the live position where they are quickly, so that A4 seems to be a bit of a new move.
Okay.
Because normally in this position, people would play something like Bishop E2 or CD5, but A4, I think the idea is he's waiting to see if Black would take, so he can take here, Rook E8 and then A5. So here we are with the
Oh,
live position. Yes,
okay.
great. So what do you think of this, Manoj? And also maybe, you should, I know you are around 2000 on chess.com, right? If I'm not wrong.
No.
No?
I once reached 2000 on leeches, but
Okay.
not on chess.com. Yeah,
Okay.
like maybe I'm 16, 1700 online. Yeah,
Okay. So Manoj is an intermediate level chess player. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
who do you think, or who is your pick today? Sundaro or Wei?
I think Wei is a bit stronger, right? His rapid rating is more than Sindarov, is it?
True, that is
Uh,
true. Yeah, his rapid rating is higher. I also feel Wei is slightly more experienced and older. Like
Mhm.
even though he's also young, comparatively, if Sundaro is older than
Yeah,
Sundaro. So
chess
from that,
stage is older than.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
uh, yeah, but I think Wei played a few other in other rounds also he played this tie breaks, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with
Even
Arjun and all, it was a long tie break.
tie break and even Sindarov was in tie breaks.
True.
Okay, yeah. In semifinals he played tie break, right, with Esipenko.
Yes. semifinals. Yes, obviously he got eliminated in that, but that was Wei,
Wei
who
is playing.
eliminated
Sorry,
Esipenko in that blunder.
he played Naudible.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, Kubo. But that
Yeah,
was fairly, I think, straightforward.
it's, yeah,
Yeah.
true.
So,
Okay,
and
yeah, so I think that's what I wanted to ask. Like, I think Wei in this tournament, at least he has played more, uh, you know, rapid rounds than Sindarov, right?
I think, Manoj, we lost your video just to check.
Okay.
Again, orange kind of a screen is there on your video.
Okay. I don't know what's happening. Wait, I'll join again.
Sure, sure. So to the audience, as Manoj joins back, E5 is a very strong move. He basically wants to force open things on the center, AE, and the king being here and the bishop and rook not having developed is, I would say, kind of a concern for white. We are looking at possibly some mass exchanges in D5 and E5. So something like CD5, CD5, DE5 and knight e5 or a lot of exchanges could happen. And what Sindarov could be trying to say is, I have control of the open file and this pawn advance could help me create a passed pawn possibly on the queen side, kind of something like that, and create chances. That is his idea with a4 a5. It's basically some sort of a home preparation, hoping to get a slight advantage, I would say, in the process, gaining space on the queen side. And the way he strikes back in the center, and e5 mainly opens up this bishop's activity, and if this bishop opens, the rook gets active. So it seems to be like fairly safe position for both sides, not big attempts or like risk involved for both sides here. And Manoj, are you back? I see you're logged in again. So to the audience, we have started a few minutes late, so we are kind of quickly catching up with the game as well as our self-introductions. So for who has logged watching us live right now, I am Grandmaster Priyadharshan, founder of Chess Gaja, and we are doing the final round or tiebreak round of World Cup that is currently being held in Goa. So today is like the last day of this tournament, basically. And if any of you has any queries or you want to have your chess queries clarified, please put it on the live chat. We would be very happy to talk it in between the breaks, between this game, the other game, there would be a break. So we would definitely be able to talk about general chess queries. We would be able to talk about, something related to this tournament or Indian chess in general. Or if you have any questions to Manoj, who is also, logged in for us with us today. And so currently, Sundarov is thinking for a bunch of time, and we see this DE5, knight E5 on the board and CD5. So there's a lot of calculations that's possible, like knight F3, GF3, queen F3, rook G1, and mating threat basically here. So things are getting slightly sharper over here, I would say right now. And if C takes D5, it's more quieter approach. So it's kind of a big moment for Wei. Does he want to kind of keep the position very sharp by capturing on f3 and then capturing queen f3? I would say he's not going to do that because it looks extremely risky for me to go into that line as black, knight f3, gf3, queen f3, rook g1. As the only way I see the defense on g7 is by playing g6 or g5. Most likely, if rook g1, I would go g6. But that position, then white would play some d takes c6. Even though white king is in the center, I think the black king is actually much weaker. So, so we see Wei declining to play knight f3, and instead he's going for this line with c takes d5, and Sindara was very quick to capture knight e5. So let me quickly check if Manoj is facing any login issues as he's been logged out for a few minutes. 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . . 。 . 。 . 。 . . . . 。 . 。 . 。 . . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 .
。 . 。 . 。 . 。 .
. So knight e5, queen e5, we've got that on the board. So I expect most likely queen takes e5 to happen, and then some sort of or bishop b5 is actually a idea, but bishop b5 might turn into a very nice tactic. I hope the viewers can spot it. I'll give maybe a few seconds to see if you can see what white would play. If bishop b5, there was d4, and the point being the queen was attacking the b5 bishop. So we see queen e5, rook e5, and king d2 played. So major reason for king d2 is that, if black plays d4, there was a pin. So by stepping away, and if black can still go d4, because if e d4, you have rook a5. I think it's a very serious line for black to consider. I'm sure Wei would definitely consider that, because it would get rid of his isolated pawn, and also he'll be able to kind of, capture this far advanced pawn on a5. But let's see what exactly happens. Other than d4, I see possibly some other ideas could be something like rook dropping back to e7, but those are all kind of passive, and it would lead to very comfortable position for Sindarov. And I believe Manoj is still figuring out his login issues, so hopefully he'll be joining us very soon. Yeah, sorry about it for the brief disruption in video. So we got it. I hope I'm back live. And to all the audience, as mentioned, please post your queries on the live chat. We are constantly checking the live chat to see what your thoughts and so on. And we would be very happy to answer what are your thoughts are on the game. So as of now, after king d2, he is thinking for a brief amount of time, and as expected, d4 is on the board. This is going to be a crucial, critical move. As I was saying, it gets rid of his weakness and at the same time captures a much more advanced pawn. I have a very strong feeling this game is heading towards a very solid draw this time around. And I have, most likely very rare possibility that white might create something, and white or black might win from here. There is a clear weakness kind of on d4, but it is definitely compensated by the control on the c file, rook c7, and these kind of moves are going to be very, very strong here. And yeah, so this is kind of the logic here. If I'm playing white, I would seriously consider rook c7 as one of my first choice moves, trying to put maximum pressure down the 7th rank. And, I think Manoj is back. So with rook c7 or bishop c4 is a possibility, but bishop c4, the problem is the rook's control on c file is kind of stopped if you go bishop c4. So I expect maybe, yeah, Manoj, you're back, but you're on mute. You might have to unmute yourself. So to our audience who are watching the live stream, we hope that you've got,
My
some.
video is also visible, right?
What is it, Manoj? Sorry.
My video is visible, right?
Yes, we are able to see you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think now it should be fine.
Okay, let me remove the pin from your previous win, because that also still shows us logged in. Let me remove that.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry,
Uh,
sorry for the
No
confusion.
issues, no issues.
Because I don't know, for some reason.
Maybe it was because I think last time when I removed, I think instead of just removing, I also reported and removed. I don't know, accidentally I did that. Maybe that's why is it not letting you into the meeting? Maybe something like that.
Okay, okay.
Maybe I this time I just removed. I turned on off that setting. Yeah. So yeah, can you see the board and my screen, Manoj? Or
Yeah, 1 minute.
yeah, sure. So we currently have rook a5, and there's Sindarov is going into a long think, and time's about equal on the clock for both the sides. So I think he's still figuring out if he does want to go rook c7 here and put pressure. And if I do, for rook c7, I think a very solid approach for black would not to worry about this pawn, but just go something like bishop e6 and quickly try to go rook d8 and put pressure on this pawn. And another point for rook c7 that can be considered is rook a1 and trying to pin the bishop and rook. Yeah.
Hello, Priyadarshan. Am I
Yes.
in the call?
Yes, you are in the call. We can hear you. I can
But
see you
but but I don't see myself on the screen.
on this. Maybe I need to pin. Let me pin you. I forgot to pin you on the video. Let me see now. Can you see now if you are visible? I added as a pin.
Yeah. One minute.
Yeah, I think you are
Yeah,
now.
yeah, I'm on the screen, but I just that I'm not able to see myself on the Zoom
y-
screen. Yeah,
Okay,
but
let
that's,
me see.
I
One
mean,
moment.
it lets only one of us on the screen.
Uh, I think it's switching. If you look at YouTube, I'm just on my phone looking at the YouTube, and I can see.
Yeah. It's just swapping both of us,
Yeah,
like
it's
either
swapping. I
you or
don't think it's allowing. Let me see if that view can be layout can be changed to
yeah,
content only.
or gallery view or something like
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've changed the presenter layout, but I'm not sure if this is going to make any impact on it. I've set something as side by side, uh, and
that. Okay.
if it works, would be great. If not, maybe it doesn't work, and it'll just show individual show.
Yeah, whoever is talking, I think we will be shown. I don't know.
Yeah, possibly. I think this is always
Hmm.
an issue in Zoom in some settings.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is kind of I think flipping one out whoever is speaker. Yeah, speaker views there
Yeah.
currently.
I think the some setting should be there where we can change and find out, but it's fine.
Yeah, sure. So, do you want to pick up from here? What do you think of the position here? And
Yeah. So they are in the end game right now.
yes,
Okay. I'm just opening the board. 1 minute. Okay. Okay. He played rook c5.
yes.
Hmm. c5. So is it good for black to exchange rooks? No, I won't because it will connect the pawns, right? Oh no, because or anyways, d4 is a passed pawn, so I think white will try to keep it, right?
I mean, if we exchange, it is advanced, but it can't really go further because B pawn will
Yeah, because
control C6.
yeah, so he has taken it.
Yeah, I think he
So
was debating if he should go rook A1 or take the rook, and I think he decided to go for it. Yeah,
was rook a2 better than rook a1 because you attack the pawn?
it is possible, but if rook A2, Manoj, I think we'll go king C3 here. And
Okay.
the king is just going to defend. I have a, I mean, then again, actually, rook a1 could be an idea now because there's no rook c1 idea, all of it. Rook a2 actually could be have been an interesting way to see where the king goes and then go rook a1 because now we have some rook c1 checks, lot of ideas. White has to maybe play g3 idea, bishop g2, and the game could have gone like this actually as well. But I think he just wanted to force
Enters the
things.
game.
Yeah. So bishop e6 and bishop d3. So, do you think you will go rook c8 or rook d8, Manoj? Where do you think you will put this rook and put pressure on the bishop or on the pawn?
I think rook d8 will pin the bishop. Later, you can. Yeah, so if we play rook d8, I think they'll play king d3. King
Yes,
c3. Yeah. Mm, because otherwise, even if we give one tempo, the bishop will be pinned.
correct. Yes,
Uh, but like if rook c8, they'll play b4. No?
that
White
is
plays
true.
b4.
But I think for rook c8, b4, black might play a5 and liquidate, exchange everything.
If so, then first play rook c1, then protect the c pawn, and then b4. And if a5, you can push b5.
Possible. But the question here is, I mean, I think one thing is very clear. Wei is basically trying to, by at least what I see, he wants to force a draw here as black because he's trying to find the cleanest way to make a draw. So you are right. In a way, if rook c8, I think he's thinking this rook c1 might come. There's still some play for white because this pawn is slightly advanced. So there is a
Mm.
possibility he's considering. I have a feeling maybe he's considering, okay, he played bishop d5. That is what I was going to say as well. So the point is he
Mm.
wants to take control of this diagonal because, if not, there was always a bishop e4 pressure on the b7 pawn.
Mm.
So now he's going rook c8 and I expect rook c1 to be on the board because if b4 then a5 and it will be a very simple equality. If Sindarov
Mm.
is pushing for a small chance, he will play rook c1 here and then black might play b6. And that is also another good thing of bishop d5. If b6 had been played directly, white might play c6. But if the bishop is on d5, b6,
Uh,
white is forced to play b4 or c takes b6.
okay, okay.
Yeah. And let us see what Sindarov does here. And so yeah, you were actually so you were going to pick Wei, right, to win this match today?
I think yeah, he's been a super GM for a long time, right? Like yeah. Now you can see a lot of Uzbekistan players. They are also coming up. Like two of them came to reach the semifinals. There are a lot of other talented players as well. But I think we might win because uh, even with I think even against Arjun and even against Yasipenko, we got a little lucky. With Arjun, did Arjun blunder or like?
No, they played that end game where, like he kind of got outplayed, I would say, that game. Yeah. I mean, he had his chances somewhere, but he didn't capture.
Correct, correct. Yeah, yeah, I remember that game. Like he will play till checkmate, right?
Yes, yeah, there will be a promotion of pawn, I think, in the game.
Uh,
Yeah, and then,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So he was like 2 pawns up in a bishop endgame.
Yeah, yeah, Wei was up. Wei, yeah,
Yeah,
something
where he
like
was up to.
so.
Yeah, I remember. Okay,
So we
so
have
B4
b4
is
on the
played.
board now.
So will they play A5?
I think most likely because I have
Hmm.
a feeling maybe what Wei is thinking is if a5, b takes a5, rook takes c5, white might play rook a1 and try to hold on to the a5 pawn and kind of play a long game and try to target
Okay.
the b7 pawn. Maybe white is thinking of that as a possibility. So Wei might be
If
considering should I play a5 or should I play b6? Maybe.
if Rook A1, C4 is also possible, right? Yeah, he played A5.
Yeah. So Now
If
it
I
is going to be both the pawns will get exchanged, the queen side pawns. Then it's just a simple draw,
Yeah, it's like rook and bishop with 3 pawns.
and all being on the
They,
same side. So
same
nothing
side. So,
complicated, and all the pawns are fairly symmetrical as well. Even also same side and symmetrical in a way. Yeah.
and also both are light square bishops, so there's nothing complicated.
Yes, one small thing that maybe has to be careful is there is a possibility for a back rank mate still, but I don't think that will happen because even though black has played h6,
Hmm.
h7 square is still controlled by the
Still,
bishop.
yeah,
So black needs to be slightly careful. Definitely, I don't think Wei is going to
yeah.
fall for a back rank mate anything, but
Hmm.
we never know. You saw that blunder by Esipenko, right? That
Shevchenko, yeah.
yeah, so it
See,
is.
he went to play that rook. He took the rook, but like, in the last minute. I mean, now they are having a lot of time. What is the time situation? Seven
Sindarov
minutes.
has 7 minutes and Wei
Wei,
has 3 minutes
yeah,
basically.
yeah, almost 240. But Wei has been playing with lesser time, right? Like he has been playing moves with 1 second on the clock, 2 second on the clock, but too calmly is being making those moves.
Yeah, it's an amazing skill. Like that game and all with that Sipenko, he had one
Yeah,
second and he didn't even like
second.
show small nervousness. He just like played as if he had like maybe 1 minute on the clock. He just
I think he played. Yeah, even he was also thinking whether to move the rook or move the knight before he played knight e4 to attack the rook. Right, like last minute he changed hands and then he played the knight move.
yeah.
Uh,
And I think what happened in that Esipenko game is that for some reason, maybe
mm.
in Esipenko's mind, he registered it like the rook has moved because, he was initially trying to move the rook.
Ah,
So in his mind, it would have recorded that he has already made his rook safe. So now it is time
uh,
to stop that knight d5 check. So
yeah,
like a
because there
double
was
move might
a
have happened in his mind. I already moved my rook. Now it is time to save that check from knight d5 happening.
because that was a four grade that c6 pawn or c7 pawn was under
Yeah.
attack. Okay, rook exchanged.
Yeah, so he played rook c1 and kind of setting up that trap. This is not a free pawn because there was a back rank mate. So they just
Uh,
exchange. So this is going to be now basically king is going to come up. King f8, king e7, king d6. White will do king d2, king c3, king
uh,
d4. There is a small pressure on this pawn, but I don't think it's going to be a huge one. In case if this position had one more weakness, especially a pawn weakness on a king side, especially if the pawn was fixed on a light square, this is clearly like a very good chance for white to win because there would be like we can follow the principle of two weaknesses in that situation. But there's
yeah.
only one weakness here, so this bishop should be able to defend it quite easily, most likely on this without any issues.
So can white play a6 at any time or
White can play a6, but I think white is still trying to slightly push for a win here. So,
mm,
okay, actually they played a bunch of moves. King f8 happened, king d2, king e7, king
yeah,
c3,
yeah.
king d6, king d4, f6. So we got this position on the board.
Oh, f6 also happened. Okay.
Yeah. So f6 logic is, black wants to keep the pawns on the dark square
What's
because
on
this is a
dark
light
square
square
so
bishop.
that there is no target.
Yes.
Uh, and even b7 is also defended. So will white also do the same? Push g maybe, but like now white can't push either g3 or f4, right? Because
Yes.
the
That is a
pawns.
problem. So white has to maybe play bishop e2 and then play g3 f4.
Okay.
Something
It will
like
be
that.
not good to bring the king down, right?
Yeah, another good point. Yes, if we bring the king down to c3 or e3, the black king will come up c5, and there is some pressure on this pawn. Like, I mean, there is a6 possibility always, but black does not require to capture. Black can push the pawn b6 or b5 and try to capture the isolated but advanced pawn on a6 or a7.
If b5 I mean, after protecting the b5 square, say bishop c6 and then b5,
Yeah. So
or
now,
both queening squares are also white, so yeah, the bishops will definitely defend.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think now they are just quickly, I mean, in a way, H4 is saying like, if you play G5, I'll play HG5. We can exchange and make a draw quickly, kind of.
Ah,
If he really
okay.
wanted to push for a win or something or try his chances, he might have played bishop e2 with g3 f4. But when you see a move like this, but there is still actually small, risk still for black. If any side has minute winning chance, I would still give it for white because of this weakness on b7.
Hey, what is this? Is this just a blunder? G5.
Why so? What do you think now white could do?
No, no, because I can see bar is 2.8 for white.
Okay, I've turned off the engine, so I'm not looking at the evaluation. But what I am
Uh,
calculating is there's a possibility of HG5, FG5, bishop e4, bishop e4. Maybe that endgame um is where White's king will access the king side. Bishop,
okay.
as I said, bishop e4 is the major try. Not immediately. First, he has to make a decision h5 or hg5. I think he'll play hg5. Yeah, by the way, I've turned off my engine to the audience, so I will just say what I am thinking. I might say
Okay.
something very silly as well, but it's purely what I am thinking. And Manoj, you have to give me hints if engine evaluation is big blunders happen and so on. Yeah. So, but also, as we rightly see, Sindarov is thinking. So he's, I think, smelling some possibilities here, and he's trying to see, you know, and also having 4 minutes on the clock is a very good luxury he has, whereas Wei he has only 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Okay.
And yeah, to the
I think
audience.
we.
Do you see the win yourself as well, or without the help of engines? If you see the win, please put it on the chat. It's definitely not like, any concrete way I see, but I see there is possibilities. As I kept saying, white is the only side if with any winning chance, and that is primarily because this pawn is on b7. That's the primary reason. And how this all started, we know that at the opening phase of the game, White played a4 and a5, which was not part of theory, but kind of like a new idea by Sindarov here. So that is what has might end up giving him the chance, this advanced pawn on a5. So let us figure out what is h5 or what is hg5. One thing that I think with h5 here is, as black might consider playing something like g4, but then there is fg4, bishop takes g2 and bishop e4. So then what would happen is if bishop takes e4, king takes e4, and if king e6 or something, there would be king f4 and trying to get into the f5. But that also I don't see a concrete win there because there's always opposition by black, and I don't see a clear path to victory in that for white yet. And if h takes g5 in this position, okay, so he has played h5. So his idea is he's going to play. One thing I see,
Oh,
yes, Manoj, your video is off.
oh, is it?
So h5 has been played. So he is going to play bishop e4 at some point soon. Sundarov is going to go bishop e4.
Actually, after G5, the engine says bishop E4 is 3.6 for white, plus 3.6 for white.
Okay. So maybe the line I think it is trying to go is bishop e4, king e4. And if g h4, obviously you'll go king f5. But even
Uh,
that time. I don't see the clear path. So for example, to the viewers, if we see something like this, you know, yeah, if king e7, yes, it's very weak. But I should calculate this first. King c5, king f6, king b4, f4, king a5, f5, b5, and some sort of king g7. Okay. So this is actually the whole point. You queen, and then they queen, and you give a check, and you win the queen. That's the whole logic.
Oh, okay.
You had to,
But
if the king was here, it would have been a draw. As the king is on a5, it is a win for white.
but like the computer says, don't take the bishop on e4, bishop c6.
Yeah, but I'm saying if bishop e4, this is the line I think that Sindarov need to have calculated. If he had seen
Uh,
all the way up to queen a8, maybe he might have gone bishop e4 and in bishop c6. But now I think in bishop c6, the point is you will take and go like play hg5 or play hg5 first. Over here, play hg5. Wait, I think.
no, it's okay. Bishop c6, h5.
Okay, so here we are. Bishop e4, bishop c6, h5. So you're saying this is what the computer's line is here, yeah?
Now all moves are winning for white.
Yeah, because black is kind of stuck, Bishop e4 means king e4, and if king e6, it will be g4. And
Hmm.
if king e7 here,
King
that there
can.
would be king f5, or actually king f5 or king d5. Yeah, actually, king d5 might be even better. King d5, king d7, king c5, king c7, king b5. But even here, I still see this, and black has to play something like king d7. Because if you go, yeah, king d7, and if king b6, king c8. And here also, I feel I don't see the win. But I think there's a slightly different way to win as white. Most likely, white has to play f4, but over here, or king f5 and then f4. But what happened in the
Um,
game? I think let's quickly jump to the game and maybe we'll analyze this once we are back. And Manoj, I think your video is still off. Can you figure it out?
yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
No, instead of g4, it says g3.
G3 in move number 32.
Yeah.
Wow. Who-
No, no, not. Yeah, when the kings are. No, no, after the bishops are exchanged.
Oh, in this position here.
Yeah.
H5.
You played g4,
Here
right?
G3.
Instead of g4.
34th move.
Yeah, yeah. And again, that's a huge advantage. I don't know why.
I think basically, okay, now I kind of get the logic. I think the logic is if black plays f5, king
Fair.
d4, king
Hmm.
d6, and now if you play f4, not f4, f4 or g4, which one would be more suited? Um, yeah, actually now I think g4 is better. Let me calculate both. I think both might be interesting, but g4 might be better. Um, and then if they play f4, king c4, king c6, king b4, and then you get inside. This is the point. So then if they go
Hmm.
here, you will go here. And if they go here, you go here. And if they go here, but even here, if you go here, you do this. Okay, so this is the point. And now whichever side the king goes, you enter the other way around, and then it's basically you capture the pawn.
Uh,
Yeah, so
so
very deep
both
calculation that is, or like variation to figure out.
b7 and h6 both are weak for black.
Yeah, and if you remember, I was mentioning, two weaknesses was required, right? So we are
Hmm.
getting one was clearly fixed, the second one is fixed here, and then it's target. But
Uh,
let's see what happened in the game. So they played a bunch of moves. White has fixed all this in the light square, but has a strong bishop to defend f3.
But now it's equal. I think Sindarov is the win.
I think they are repeating moves, or okay, they got into this. So we already saw a similar position. So, G f4, King f4, King e7, King f5, King f7. So opposition is on the board.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let us see if I don't see any winning chances. So he's trying to triangulate so that if King e3, King e6, then again going King e4 kind of stuff. Um, but then let's see what way he's planning to do here.
So clearly black is playing for draw and white is trying to push.
Correct. Throughout the game, that has been the story.
Yeah.
And okay, so we see King e6 on the board. Sindarov goes King e4, takes the opposition. Black drops back King e7.
Yeah. Now
So
King
if
C5 is the last move, right?
no, King e7 is the last move currently on the board.
Yeah.
And time is also equal now. Earlier, Sindarov did have some sort of time advantage, but he's now completely like
Now,
on equal timing.
okay. Yeah, way has more time. Okay,
And they
they
agreed
agreed
to
for
draw.
a draw.
Yes.
Ah,
Okay. Oh no, actually, no, they are still playing. I think. Okay, did they agree for a draw? Yeah, okay. Now officially the result is draw. For a second, the stock clock still was running, and then they went back.
yeah.
Okay, so let me stop screen share till they start next game, which will be a few minutes time. So yes, Manoj. So how did you find the game today? This game so far?
It was very interesting. Like almost equal in the game, but then I think Sindarov had a good chance.
Yes.
Uh, okay, I think now my video is there, right?
Yeah. Now I just stopped screen sharing so that both of us, uh, because still the game, it gets to the live
Proceeds.
thing. We can talk a bit about how you're finding the your chess journey, because do you remember last time you were in Chess Gaja's channel, like when it was like a historic moment when we were
Yeah,
streaming.
almost 1 year ago, World Championship finals. Uh, Again, I'm not able to see
I'll switch
me.
it to multi-speaker now. Let me switch the view. Let me see if that works now. Give me a second.
Yeah,
I switched it to gallery. I hope it reflects on the live streaming in a second.
yeah,
After that, I actually also myself haven't streamed in basically 1 full year. So yeah, now I think we are both live on the screen.
yeah. I'm able to correct.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 1 year. So I have also
So,
forgot a lot of my streaming skills. If I had any skills. So, learning it all over again. Yeah. And Manoj, I think this year I'm curious, maybe some of our viewers might also be curious. You went to UK for some
mm,
sort of a comedy, like a festival, right?
festival, yeah,
Maybe share a
yeah.
bit
It's
about
very.
it. Did you play chess in UK? Did you go to any chess club as well? Combine it with that. Tell us.
There was not. I couldn't find any chess clubs, but there were some chess meetups, but the timing was not working out. But I did play because a lot of pubs they have chess boards randomly, and I did play some games on and off. But yeah, maybe so the schedule was not aligning. So some meetups were happening at some other cities, and the wherever I was there was not proper meetup was happening. So, but I did play some players in some clubs. I mean, not clubs per se, but like there are pubs there. I ended up playing with few people.
I see.
It was fun.
And maybe say a bit more
Mm.
about that festival so, we can all know
Festival.
about it, what
Yeah,
exactly it is.
Yeah, it's like the biggest comedy festival in the world. Every year it happens in August in Edinburgh in Scotland. It's called the Fringe Festival. So people from all over the world they come and perform there. It's been on my list to do that festival. So it happens for 1 month. You have to perform every day. Every day there's a show. So
Okay.
so every day you have to perform. So yeah, it was fun. So it's
So
nice.
you should have new content every day, or you can use the same content every
No,
day.
no, it's the same show. You have to like one opening we prepare and we do it.
Okay.
Like so yeah, I mean, you just announce one show with one name, and it's the same show every day. You keep doing.
Okay.
So that's what more everybody does that. Like they just come with one show or a play, or a lot of things happen. Theater, play, clown shows. Different variety of shows happen, like musical comedy and musical plays. So many varieties there. Any live performance you can see there. Like
Okay.
children shows. If you are in UK, I think August definitely people. I'm most of them who live in UK, they know about the festival. But if you are from outside UK, do check out Fringe Festival. It's like during August, the weather is also very pleasant. It's like it's not peak summer, it's not like winter. It's like the transition period between summer and winter in
Mhm.
Edinburgh. So the weather is very, very good, and I mean, it's the best time to go there, and you can watch so many shows. And Edinburgh as a city itself is like it's very nice.
Okay.
So many nice things are there, like so many castles, so many. A lot of people travel from across the world to attend the festival, just to you know see some shows there, and
Okay.
many
No, so you were saying something. Sorry, I interrupted you.
many people. So Fringe Festival is very famous. A lot of Europeans travel or like a lot of Americans, even Indian audiences, like people who live in UK, people who live in Ireland, people who live in like Wales, all these countries, they travel to Scotland. Almost every year, at least they get like 4 million people, as floating crowd who
Mhm.
come and visit the festival. It's very nice.
And you were like the first South Indian stand-up comic to perform, right? Something like that.
Yeah, correct. To do a solo, yeah, I think
Okay.
other comics have done like as a group they have done, but I think uh, I think so. I'm the first person to do a solo show for one full month.
Great,
Yeah,
great to hear that. And uh, so is this like you have to apply ahead of time? You get selected like a judge, and
yeah.
they choose
So
you from applications like that.
yeah. Like the process starts from it happens in August, but you have to start applying from December, Feb itself. You have to start finding venues. You have to apply. You have to find a producer. And I mean, but this time I did on my own, like it was a self-produced show.
Okay,
Sometimes if you get a producer, you can still go and do with them. So it's like a lot of options are there. Whichever works for you, you can choose that. But yeah, you have to start applying from Jan, Feb itself.
got it. Now, are you currently on any comic tour, like your own show around India, something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Moment?
whichever show I did in the festival. I am doing the same show
Okay,
across, and next year, April, there is another comedy festival called Melbourne Comedy Festival. I think that's the second biggest one after Fringe. So
okay.
I'm going there as well.
In
So
Australia.
yeah, Australia.
Oh, okay, good, great, good luck. So you're going to be doing the
Same
same
show,
show
yeah,
there, yeah? Okay,
yeah.
okay,
True, yeah.
great, fantastic. So I think we are still
Mm.
waiting for the game to start, and
So usually it's 10 minutes. How much time they have
I
between
think
games?
10 minutes in between 10 to 15 minutes. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't see the game yet started. So once it started, I think we can go live on it. And this time, Wei Yi is white. So we'll see if he
Okay.
can create some chances as white, and or do you think the game will go to next tie breaks? Do you think they'll end in a draw here, or do you think?
Yeah, it's the championship game, but I think I think he will try to, because he has white.
Yes. Yeah, I've always found him to be very solid with black. And he
Hmm.
creates some way, especially, and he creates some chances with white. And especially with black for e4, he always plays the Petrov. Not always, but predominantly plays the Petrov. And gets a very
Oh.
equal position. In this World Cup itself, around in 4 matches, he had played Petrov either whenever he got black and white played e4, he played e5. And for knight f3, he went knight f6. And Arjun could not beat him with white side in Petrov. Sam Sevian could not beat him. Parham Maksudlu could not beat him. So he was super, super solid with black with Petrov. And maybe that is
Uh,
also a reason why we didn't see e4 in this game by Sindarov. He went for, something with d4 kind of a line here.
okay.
Yeah, because he's very well prepared in Petrov with black. So let us see what preparation he comes up with white. And I have a feeling, they will go to next tiebreaker. I mean, this game will end in a draw as well, even though it has not even started yet. And I think in that, and also it was going to be actually very tricky. Imagine, if Sindaros, I don't think the coach or assistant will tell them in like in this break that you missed the win. Like, tell him like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
missed the
because
+3. It would affect the mindset a lot. Most likely they would have said,
true,
you
true.
played a perfect game. Let's focus on the next game and not tell that information to him. But in case if
I
imagine if he somehow quickly runs the engine in this break and figures out, he would be kind of not in the best frame of mind to play this round.
Yeah, because winning, if you had won it as white, then the chances are more. Like with black, you can somehow make a draw, and yeah. But like
Correct.
if it goes to lesser time control, say 10 plus 10 or blitz, who you think is the favorite?
I mean, I overall have picked Wei in this match, irrespective of which time control it goes into.
Mhm.
I mean, because even though Sindaro, I think, is like, I think slightly faster than Wei in terms of speed. I just
Mm.
like that, the ice cold playing chess with that 1 second in that game against SEC. I have a feeling like, it's not going to affect Wei in any way, even though he's slightly slower, in my opinion, in
Uh,
Blitz or compared to Sindarov. Because Sindarov is so good, I think he beat Nakamura in this, there's a tournament that was this freestyle grand tour that happens
Freestyle.
around 4 5 months
Okay, okay.
ago. He picked, so there you could pick your opponent. So if you qualify, then you pick who you want to face. And Sindaro picked like Nakamura. He was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. I remember this tournament had Fabi, Magnus, and
yeah.
everybody were there. I remember. I remember. I saw this.
So if you say I want to play Nakamura in a faster time control, that's a lot of confidence. No, you don't
I
pick.
think he won the game also, right? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. He actually, I think he did win this game. So that shows how strong or how fast he is.
Confident. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Mm. I think
Nice start.
Wei, the thing is, he kind of
Mm.
peaked too early as a chess player. I mean, it's in a way good, in a way bad. Like, for example, when he was 14, 15, years old itself, he was basically a prodigy. People were saying, he might be like the next Carlsen at that point in
Mm.
time. He was playing all these super GM tournaments. He was like one of the youngest grandmasters in the world, all of it. But then, for last 3 to 4 years, he's been very quiet in terms of his
Quiet.
performance. He gets invited here and there, but no big result. Now I think he's around, if I'm not wrong, he's around 23 or 24 years old. I'm not entirely sure how
I
old
think
he is right now.
May is 26, I think.
Oh, 26. Yeah. So, he peaked a bit too early. And he once was the he is actually the youngest player to reach 2700 rating when he was 15. So imagine he's
Mm.
been actually in the 2700 elite level for like 11 years. And he's 11-year-old veteran in that level. And Sindarov's age itself is like 19. And, that I think is the thing about, and I think this is Weiyi's moment, I feel like, because after being in the elite for 11 years, he had one or two big results in the last 11 years. But I think this might be the moment where, where he kind of picks up and shines again, being an elite player. And that is why
Yeah,
I go with Weiyi, purely because, if you are consistently putting in effort and remain as a top player, you will get that break. I think this might be that break moment for spotlight moment for Veigi, I feel like.
sure, sure. I think, but anyways, now he's into the candidates. So is he one of the favorites for the candidates as well?
Not really. I would still pick Fabiano as a favorite to win the
Yes,
candidate.
Fabiano was there last time also, right? In last candidates also, Fabiano, Nakamura, everybody were there.
Yeah, he's been in candidates like consistently. Like he's all like,
Ah,
before that he did play even he played World Championship match with Carlsen, if you remember,
hmm,
about I think
2018,
2018 or
18,
yeah, around
yeah,
that time. Yeah. So
18,
he's
18.
basically veteran for candidates and World
Hmm.
Championship match as well. He's played so many
But
candidates and so on.
he played only one World Championship match, right? Just in
Correct.
2018.
Yeah, but he played
Yeah.
candidates a few times already. Like he's played
Oh,
the candidate, the candidate which he qualified to be a world champion to play as a challenger. That one, the candidate, I think before that even he played once when even Kramnik was all playing. So at least if my
oh.
memory serves me right, at least three candidates Fabi would have played by now in his chess career.
La Last year, last cycle he was there.
Yeah.
That I could remember. I think he came third.
So when you are in two or three cycles in world championship candidate cycle and all, you are like you kind of know how to handle your nerves. And the other players who are in, right, like Nakamura is there, Anish Giri is there, Preg is not officially qualified, but he is most likely the one to qualify by the FIDE circuit, Grand Prix circuit. And then Matthias Bluebaum from this, and we
Mm.
have Esipenko and basically the two players from today's match,
Well,
Wei, and
and
this is the
Sindarov.
final. So if I have to rank who has the best chance, I will give it to Caruana Fabiano. Second best chance I would give it is to actually Prag. I think Pragnananda would have the second best chance. Then would come Nakamura, then Anish Giri, and 5, 6, 7 would be like, Vei, Sindarov. I think I'm missing.
Esipenko.
7 and 8 would be Esipenko or Blue Bomb. I think those two have the least chances of all of the eight, Esipenko and Blue Bomb. And other of the other six, um, I mean, honestly saying, if anyone will really win the candidates, it will be, I think it's realistically Caruana or Prag or Nakamura. I, I, I mean, that's my, even if for Anish Giri or five and all, I wouldn't give them much chances. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Nice.
actually, the game has started. I think we
Game
should
has
get
started.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me screen share.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so they played this. So we have a Gyokyo piano, Italian kind of a line, two knights, and then knight c3. So we have a kind of like a non-theoretical position on the board. A long game is going to be there, knight e6.
Yeah.
What do you think of this, Manoj, in terms of would
Yeah,
you have given
this
your
one,
bishop, like, did you think this bishop g4, bishop f3 idea? What do you think?
castle, bishop. Okay. Oh, he gave up the bishop. Okay.
Yes.
Uh, but now he'll play queen d1. Huh? Queen d1 he played. Okay. Bishop a2 was correct. Huh? Like, is it the best move?
Yeah, I mean, it's a prophylactic move. He just wants to avoid d5 with a tempo and keep the bishop
Mm-hmm.
very safe. And it is actually a very good square because that diagonal is going to be unchallenged control for the bishop unless black gets d5. But it's going to be not that easy to get d5 on the board immediately for black on push.
Yeah, but will okay. They can't play f5 also anytime because that's a too much work. You have to move the king.
Yeah,
Uh, okay. Rook e1 was also possible, right?
he did play rook e1 in the game.
Okay. No, I've,
On move 12, he went rook e1.
okay. Yeah. Knight e6. Is it? Why is that the best move? Because knight on d4 is very strong, right?
It is, but the knight might be offered for a trade with knight e2 and get kicked away. I think the logic of knight e6, why he went there is, he wants to like consider knight. It's a bit confusing to me as well, knight e6. But if I have to try to make sense of the move, I have a feeling he wanted to maybe go knight f4 at some point, or he thinks, it's just a like a useful improvement move, but without clearly telling what is his next idea, kind of as black. It's a semi-waiting move,
Uh,
kind of.
Engine says that's the best move as well. I don't know. Mhm.
Oh, yeah, but the logic is I fully don't grasp it yet myself. As I said, it is not helping you with the d5 or f5 break, but it is more of a waiting move. You're just getting the knight out from your, where it could be exchanged with knight e2 or c3 threats. So that's kind of the
Again,
logic.
it also prevents bishop g5.
But bishop g5 is not a big concern because d5 square, is fairly well protected.
Yeah, but again, uh, where else you will develop the bishop? Bishop d2 or e3.
Bishop e3 was developed in the game, if you see it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, rook e1, queen c7, bishop e3. Okay. So they always play bishop e3 only after rook e1, right? Or
I mean, not necessarily. In this situation, I think he went, uh, rook e1 and bishop e3. I actually really like the position on the board. White just went queen f3.
queen
I'm
f3,
not
yeah.
sure whatever the evaluation is, but I like this position because it is a very clear long-term advantage kind of a position for white. Because white has double bishop and white is waiting to figure out where would be the right pawn break, d4 or f4 in the long term. White is just improving the pieces, and the bishop on a2 is very good. So, and you see what white did with queen f3. White is saying you don't have really the possibility to play d5. White is just adding more pressure to d5, and black is
Hmm.
going rook a d8 to add more pressure or to more defense to the d5 square. So black wants to play d5 and white does not want black to play d5. So that is what is exactly happening right now here.
And white also can play rook d1.
Yeah, rook d1 is a possibility, definitely. Serious move to consider. Or white might start to also think of some g4, g5 ideas and trying to push the knight away. That is might start to come, gain some space on the king side and try to use this bishop and attack the king on g8.
Okay, b4 right away.
Yeah, it's a bit risky, but definitely a move to consider, even though it is weakening f4 and all. I think he will play rook d1 first, and then next move he'll wait to play g4 because it's very committal. And I don't think he's going to take that unnecessary risk immediately by going g4 here. Yeah.
Will white won't play d4 at any point, right?
But if we play d4, the double bishop advantage will be gone. E d4, bishop d4, knight d4, rook d4. So white will wait for a long period of time before playing d4.
Okay, okay, because
So this is a position that is very similar to, there's a line called Philidor, and he played h4 on the board.
it's 4.
Yeah. So he's basically saying, I want to play g4, g5. I want to push my kingside pawns. Maybe I'll start with h4.
So white will play h5. Black will play h5.
No, if black plays h5, it's a very committal decision. It's actually very big weakness in my opinion. I don't think black will play h5. So I have a feeling black might play king h8 here. And if white plays h5, black will play h6. And then try to go some rook g8 and so on. And so black will try to
Actually,
fight for the dark.
here, okay, h5 gives advantage to black here.
No, but h5, the one issue I see is, um, in long run, I feel this would be like if I can get not immediately bishop g5, but something like I capture fe6, bishop g5, it is a bit tough to play and defend the h5 pawn. Practically, it looks very risky. And
Yeah,
what
so,
we see, what Sindarov has done, he has gone queen d7. So he is basically saying, I'm going to play d5 next move.
yeah.
So as white, now white cannot stop d5, but white might have to figure out should he stop d4, which comes after d5. So now maybe rook a d1 is a move he might be thinking if d5, e d5, c d5, and go like d4 there. Something like that is a move he might be thinking. Or rook a d1, d5, then just simply pull the bishop back to c1. Something like that without playing e d5.
Knight e2 is also possible, right?
In this position or after rook a d1, Manoj?
Now, okay, because you need protection for d5.
No, knight e. So as I said, we cannot stop d5. But what we have, we can try to anticipate and do prophylaxis now is by going, what is the threat of d5? Basically d4. And when they play d4, it's going to be a attack on the bishop and knight. So we have to
Okay,
remove the knight or bishop ahead of time. We can prophylactically do that. So knight e2 works from that perspective, actually.
okay. So now they can play knight e2.
Yes, they can play knight e2. If black plays d5, white can go like knight g3 without taking e d5 and giving black the center control.
Yeah, the knight can go to f5 also from g3.
Yeah, but in some ways, this knight e2, knight g3 plan doesn't fit that well with the h4 move that he had played earlier.
Hmm.
Um, I have a feeling most likely, I think he's considering rook a d1, d5, bishop c1. But there is a problem with bishop c1. Actually, I just realized. If you go bishop c1, then there's knight d4 and then c2 pawn is hanging. So to the audience, this is the line I was just mentioning, and knight d4 would be very strong because c2 pawn is hanging here. So if rook a
Ah,
d1 doesn't come, then knight e2 actually might be the best move if rook a d1 doesn't work.
okay, you can't immediately play knight d4. Okay, he played
Queen
queen
h.
h3.
So yeah,
What is
so
that
his
queen?
logic is if you play d5 as black, um, I I have a feeling that way he's starting to think like, okay, his position is not that nice. He's figuring out his logic is if you play d5, he wants to play bishop g5. And the point is if knight g5, there is h5, queen h3, gh3, like a queen exchange and pressure on d5.
Oh, okay.
So he wants to exchange the queens and then he also wants to put pressure on. So for example, a sample line, if you see the screen I'm making is ed5, cd5, then bishop g5. And if they play knight g5, hg5, and if queen h3, gh3, this pawn is going to be hanging. Black has to play some knight h5 or knight d7. Let's say knight d7 to defend this. Then knight d5, bishop g5. So we might be looking at a position like this.
Queen d7 is not possible from white side. Instead
Instead
of,
of breaking the pawn structure, it is
yeah.
possible. For example, we could do here. Then
Hmm.
that will be slightly different pawn structure, and black will play d4, and then this pawn will hang. That is a problem.
Okay.
So way he is trying to lick. He's actually still discouraging black from playing d5 by going queen h3.
So now
He's
if
saying,
black plays d5, e
yeah,
takes d5, c takes d5,
yes, and
and
then bishop g5.
okay.
That is the plan here. Or white
But
can also
there,
go bishop g5 directly without taking on ed4.
yeah, I mean, without queen h3, bishop g5 was not possible.
It was possible, but I don't think black would have really worried. If you had gone directly bishop g5, the whole bishop g5 line works here because black has played d5. So if you go directly bishop g5, black has not made the commitment of d5. So there is no pressure on the d5 pawn yet.
Okay, how bishop g5 creates a pressure on d5? I'm not even understanding.
Yeah, so after queen h3, d5, bishop ed5, let's say ed5, cd5, bishop g5, we are threatening to
Hmm.
capture here and capture this pawn. We are threatening to capture bishop takes f6 and threatening to play knight takes d5.
Ah, okay, okay.
So
So without the pawn on d5, capturing on f6 doesn't make any sense.
yes, so for example, if we go bishop g5 directly and black plays h6, we capture bishop f6, bishop f6. If you see in this
Hmm.
position, there's no capture that white can do on d5 pawn, first of all, because there's no pawn on
Hmm.
d5. Another thing is there's no pressure on this pawn by the bishop. And also knight d4 idea is going to possibly come attacking c2. White might have to go back queen d1.
Uh,
So the
so,
whole point of bishop g5 makes it good only when d5 has been played. And that is
uh,
possible if we go this. I think in the game queen h3 was played and black went rook e8. So what black is doing is black is also playing all the preparatory moves that is required and then wait for d5. But bishop takes e6.
he took on easy. So the
Yeah.
queen h3 was basically to guard the h4 pawn.
No, I would say it is more of like to discourage d5. More than guard the pawn, it was to discourage and discourage d5 by the tactic that I was saying with bishop g5.
But but again, why do you need queen on h3 to delay d5 from black?
No,
Because
because
if
imagine after queen h3, this line that we were talking, right?
hmm,
Imagine if the queen was not here and all this. There might be some other variations like e4, some variations. And here, there's a queen exchange happening, weakening the pawns further for black
hmm,
in the center for white to capture or threaten.
okay, okay.
Because imagine if, for example, imagine the same position, but queens remain on the board for some reason, some position like this,
Hmm,
But if queens remain on the board, black's pieces, uh, like white's king is slightly weaker than the black king in the law process. Yeah. like
Okay.
that. And I think we have one comment saying hello from Felix, or here Felix, hello, here Felix. Not so we have a chat comment. So please share your ideas, Felix, if you want to see any variation on the board. And we have Queen H3, Rook E8, Bishop E6 on the board, FE6.
FE6. So giving up that strong bishop was fine because it was very
It
strong
is
in that
kind
line.
of forced in that point because black is going to play d5. And imagine if d5 comes and if the bishop is on
Mm,
a2, it might not have a lot of potential.
mm,
And rook e8, what is the idea of rook e8 is black wanted to play something like bishop f8 at some point and play d5 and defend the e5 pawn in the process.
okay.
So this is the kind of the line here. Yeah. And so after rookie, so what white says, okay, I'll exchange. And now the position is, I actually like black's position a lot.
Hmm.
Because one, this queen is out of the game on h3. And the black has a very strong center control, like more pawns towards the center, and kind of a good control on the d file. White needs to catch up with black in center control. And now, actually, how are you going to defend d4 is a big question. Will you play f3 to defend, or will you play e takes d5? Because if you play ed5, ed5, and black has two pawns in the center, once again, queen exchange is offered. And black is better because stronger center, and also this h4 pawn is slightly overextended in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah. So white actually has to make a decision. How do you think you will defend the pawn, Manoj, on d5?
On. Now, best move for white is to take, right? Take on d5.
If takes,
d5.
as black will also take the pawn with e d5.
Yeah, ed5. Okay, again, queen exchange will happen. No?
Yes, queen d7, rook d7 will happen. And that position I will like prefer black because black has two center pawns on d5 and d5. And also, some pressure indirectly on the h4 pawn because it is overextended. I think they played, no, they're not played any move after that. So way he is thinking. So far, based on what I see in both the games, Sindarov is actually, I mean, as expected, he's playing faster. He's taking the lead in time. Also, he's actually getting fairly good positions. Not like he's not getting into worse position at all. So Wei Yi has to be very careful. This is a crucial moment in the game, which will kind
Mm,
of di dictate the direction of this game. Like, so he goes knight g3.
mm. So now d4.
I don't think he will play d4 because he will like to keep the tension on the board. And instead of unnecessarily releasing it too soon, black will try to keep the tension on the board. I have a feeling something like rook f8 might be starting to be considered because f file is open for black, uh, and white it's like a fully open file for black on the f file, but for white it is a closed file. So black will try to go some rook f8, rook f7, rook e or rook d f8, try some activity. So we have rook f8 on the board.
What's the time? Okay, Sindarov has more time, also 10 minutes.
But he's playing fast because he wants to put pressure. And I have a feeling now in this position, a5 will be played by Wei. No, but actually, no. Okay, A5, there was just one tactical problem because maybe to the audience, can you find if A5, what do you think black would have played, Manoj, if white played A5? There's a tactical refutation for A5.
A5, B6 is hanging, no? It's A5.
That it's black to play, no?
Oh, white plays A5.
Yeah, if white plays A5 instead of on for rook F8, what do you think black would do?
Now, black played rook F8. That's the last move, right?
After that, H5 has been played on the game. But I'm saying
Uh,
instead of H5, actually they played 2-3 moves. Maybe
uh,
we'll come to that because they played 2-3 moves. So white played H5, black played H6, and white went rook E2.
okay. So instead of H5,
A5.
if
If white had played A5 on move 20.
okay, there is a tactic for black.
Yes.
They will take D5. Yeah?
B5 is, there's no tactic in B5, no?
Okay, tactic.
It's actually a very complicated line, that line that I was thinking. So I saw, any guesses, Manoj? Mhm.
D4. D4.
D4 would be bishop D2. So I saw two lines here. One was B takes A5, and if rook takes A5, then go bishop B4, attacking both the rooks here. And but now white does have rook takes A7. This is a line which is actually interesting because if you play bishop takes E1, rook takes D7, rook takes. Can you see the screen? The moves I'm
Yeah,
making,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
and queen takes E6. And white would get actually one more pawn or two pawns, and white actually has a lot of pawns compensation. And another line I was thinking for A5 is black could go bishop B4 directly here, attacking the rook and pawn. But now white can play C3, and this would lead to very interesting position. After bishop takes A5, white will play B4, trapping the bishop. It might look like, oh, the bishop's trapped, it's over, but black can strike back with D4, attacking white's bishop, counter attack.
Uh,
And if white
Bishop
goes
D2.
D2, D takes C3, bishop takes C3, something like queen takes D3, and white can go rook E3, defending the bishop, and then play BA5. Or white can also actually plug in, I think queen takes E6 check first. White can take this first, push the king, and then go rook e3, and white will win this piece. So it looks like black might actually win that pawn on a5, but actually I think in both the lines, white actually comes up in top. So I think he could have considered a5. I don't know, maybe he didn't consider it seriously. He could have played a5. But let us get back to the game because they played a bunch of moves. So we had h5, h6, rook e2, rook f7, rook e1, bishop d6. So if there is any side who can push for a win, it is black. White has very less chances to push here. And to the audience, if you have any ideas, anything you want to share, please put it on chat. And so bishop d2 is a safe move. So I think at one point white will play b3 because a4 is kind of unprotected. So he'll play b3 and protect it. That's like the only unprotected pawn. And then the position is just solid as of now. Black can consider bishop c5, but the problem with bishop c5 is white then might play e takes d5 and attack e5. So black might have to wait some time to play bishop c5 and put pressure or exploit the drawback of bishop d2 in this position.
Time is also equal for both of them. Almost
Yeah.
like 2 minutes ago. Uh,
No, Sindarov has
so
6 minutes, no, in the clock.
yeah, 6.5. He's having like four.
Yeah. I think 2 minutes is actually a huge advantage in rapid. A
Yeah.
lot of things can happen. If it's a classical position, different story, but
Mhm.
rapid. And I think I know what way he is trying to do. He's planning to play bishop c3 the next move as white, if it is white to play or if white's chance. He wants black to play d4. He's basically provoking black to say play d4 or play de4. I don't want that pawn tension any further in the position between e4 and d5. So the point is if you go bishop c3, then if you threaten e d5, the point is if e d5, there is some bishop takes e5 lines. So that is going to come up at some point. Bishop c3, maybe immediately. Yeah, see bishop c3 is on the board.
So when one black played bishop d6,
Yes.
they could have played bishop d4 also,
Bishop
attacking the rook,
d4, white will just move the rook to f1 or something.
or c3.
I'm not sure if I'll play c3 there because then it creates some weakness on my d3 pawn, d3 square, b3 square, a4. I would like to keep the pawn structure more secure because I don't have any piece on the queen side. So if I play c3, then the pawn structure becomes weak and my opponent, especially as there's always some d takes e4 possibility, black might take advantage of it. Because right now, without bishop d4, imagine if white plays some d takes e4, I mean black plays de4, white will confidently play d takes e4 without much problem because d4 is controlled by the bishop, d3 is controlled by the c2 pawn, d2 is controlled by the rook and bishop, d1 is controlled by the rook. So even though the d file is open, fully controlled by black, there's no entry point for the black's pieces.
Mm, true.
That is the point. But right now, if I play c3, imagine what will happen is then after de4, there will be an entry point in d3 for black for the queen to come in.
Okay, now they played d4.
Yeah, so d4 is actually in a way slight a win for win as in like the idea wise he has got a victory. I would say Wei because there's no more pressure on the center of the board. So now what he'll start to do, he will reroute the rook to a1 because what black is going to do is black is going to play b5, open up the a file and switch both the rooks to a file. So if one side manages to take control of the A file, that side will have an advantage. And the biggest problem for Wei right now is this queen is completely out of the game on H3. The queen should be somewhere in the center of the board. So I see a way in which Wei could activate the queen. He could play F3, move the king to F2, not immediately, but that is a plan, and then go queen H1 and then bring the queen into the game by going rook a1 and some sort of queen c1 or something like that.
But again, the queen is also constantly targeting e6, right?
Yeah, but what black will do is black will play rook a8, queen e8, rook f a7, and black will go king f7. And black will say, my king can defend the e6 pawn and free the queen from defending e6.
Okay.
So if white wants to create something, there's also another interesting way, which I think white will consider to play f3, then go knight h1, knight f2, and knight g4. Because he can eliminate if white manages to exchange the knight, then g4 and g6 squares will be accessible for white.
Mm.
I think they played a few more moves. Yeah, so knight f1, queen e8, rook a1 is on the board. So black is
I don't think. On our stream, I don't think board is okay. 1 minute. Okay, yeah, it's visible. Sorry.
I
Yeah.
really like Black's position here. If any side can win, it is only way if it's one if Sindarov.
Yes. Okay. So their white's main disadvantage is queen's position,
Yes.
one thing, and advantage or anything.
That is one, and another there is no active pawn break for white. But black
Hmm.
has b5 pawn break at some point. Black can target h5 pawn weakness and so on. And black's idea is at some point play b5, a b5, a b5, and then play c4 pawn break as well. And basically, if black manages to switch the game from king side to queen side, especially the two rooks and the queen, white pieces will struggle a bit because again, it all comes back to the queen not playing on h3, completely out of the game. And one of the problems for white here is that the knight is also very kind of doing nothing on g3, and white has to just simply sit and watch. Like white cannot generate any threat, but black can generate lot of threats, and white can only react and defend to it. So that kind of position is generally very tough to play because you have to be in the back foot defense the whole time. It's not easy. So yeah, we have b5
Got
on the
it.
board,
Oh,
knight
B5.
f1 and b5. And to the
Okay.
audience, if you are, please share your
Yeah.
ideas on the chat. If you have some lines you think they could have played, or maybe if the engine is suggesting, because I so far feel like very good play by Sundar.
So knight H2, knight G4 is the idea.
Yes, he's coming there. And if black pushes back the knights to some d7 or something, then there will be queen g3 ideas. So it's very risky for black. For example, let's say I'll just make some random move, some rook e8, knight g4, and if black goes knight h7, white will play queen g3 with two big ideas, knight takes e5 or knight takes h6 check, and white will win a pawn. So this is a big tactical idea that is also in white's idea list. So for knight h2, currently Sundarov is thinking.
But again, for black, even G6 is weak, right?
Correct.
So the knight can go to G6 also.
But when you go knight f3, knight h4, you know, it's a possibility. But I think when you go knight f3, black will go rook f7. And if you go knight h4, knight takes h5 will happen. You are losing your h5 pawn.
But queen is protecting, right?
No, if the knight comes to h4, the knight will block the pawn, no?
Oh, okay, okay. Knight H3, knight H4, okay.
But okay, he has played AB5, AB5. So what white is basically saying is, I'll also try to enter via sixth rank, not immediately because there is queen takes A6, but rook A6 is a at future a possibility. I think he will play B takes C4, B takes C4, and then play some knight G4 kind of idea as white. This is going to be a very sharp game. I think there's a good chance there might be a result in this game itself.
You
And
can't play G4 to protect H5 and then play knight H4.
it is possible, but does white really have that much time is the question. Like because you have to play knight f3, then g4, then knight h4, then knight g6. So that is basically four moves. And in the process, black will have some c takes b3 and queen c2, all those kind of things. So they just played two moves quickly, I think. A b5, A b5, b takes c4, b takes c4, knight g4 and c3. So this bishop is completely out of the game. I think he will go bishop to e1. Oh, he took on f6 first. I think knight f6, forcing black to play rook takes f6. And then white will play bishop e1. I have a feeling. Yeah.
Bishop
Idea.
e1 played.
Yeah, idea f3 and activating the bishop. But this is a very nice position for black. Because what black can do, black can try to exchange one of the rooks and try to enter onto b2 and pick up the c2 pawn. It's a very poorly defended pawn on c2. So yes, black is getting
Okay.
ready for rook a7 on the board. And queen c8 is brilliantly positioned because it is not just defending e6, it is defending a6 square also, which is a key counterplay possibility for white with rook a6. But as the queen is on c8, it defends a6 as well. So we have f3, rook a7 on the board as predicted. So
Now,
now white is stuck with the poor queen and also the rook. White is stuck with all poor pieces.
now they'll do rook exchange, right? Rook takes h1, rook takes h1. No, he avoided.
Yeah, he avoided rook d1 because if he does that, then he'll have zero counterplay. So now what I think Wei Yi is thinking is he wants to play bishop g3, he wants to play queen h2, and then he wants to go rook f1 and try to attack the e5 pawn and if possible play f4 pawn break.
Oh, but f4 is protected multiple times. No?
But f4 will also be defended multiple times by white. So I think he can do the breakthrough if he gets it on the right moment. Also, another idea, I think he's trying to set up some sort of fortress. Imagine the rook is on f1, bishop is on g3, white pawn is on g4, and white queen is on h2, something like that.
Okay. Oh my. But like they allowed rook a2, but that's not very good for white, right?
But the question is how much can black further enter? If black's queen can come to b1, will be great. But is it going to be possible? Not that easy because e6 is always under pressure and so on. As I said, one possible situation, imagine the situation, white gets g4, rook is on f1 and rook f2, queen is on g2 and king on h2. Because there's only one weakness, which is fc2 pawn, and it is defended by three major pieces for white. The rook on e2, rook on f2, queen on g2. Here. And here black goes rook b7, trying to enter via rook b2. And now it is like absolutely dominating position, I would say, for um, black. White is
Black.
just trying to see counterplay here and there if he can generate any. Yeah. And
So it's
black
very
went
difficult
queen.
for no. For now, black will not lose from this position, right? If they play correctly.
Correct. Black has very little losing chances, only winning chances here. White can only lose if any side. So I think he's trying to play this setup here. Play g3, rook f1, rook f2, rook g2, and defend f2, I mean c2 and f3, and just simply wait. This is going to be very tough defense for Wei Yi, and also being low on clock doesn't help his defense much. So let us see what happens. So as expected, g3 is on the board and black is going to be going rook b2, I have a feeling, and attack the c2 pawn. It goes rook c1, then, you know, black might try some sort of king h7 and so on.
It's okay. Oh, I declared G3. White's rooks are very passive.
Yes.
Uh, will White try to play F4 at any point?
Uh, F4 is very F4 is very tough, I would say, in this position because F4 is currently attacked by the queen and bishop.
But we have G3 to prevent it. Okay. Three attackers are there. Okay, okay.
There are
But
three.
like White, the B6 pawn is also on the way. Hmm, hmm.
So now
Huh?
it's just playing front and back some moves as white, rook c1, rook f2. We keep on defending the c2 pawn, and black will just try to add as much pressure as possible on c2. And
But
f4 is a
anyways, yeah, Black can attack C2 only with three pieces, right? Two rook and queen. And
yes.
White can also defend with two rooks and queens because they both have dark squared bishop.
Correct, but there is one way if white black can do it. It's a very tough way. Imagine if this rook is here, black can go bishop a3, bishop c1, and bishop d2.
Oh, okay. So they can but like okay, okay.
It's
So,
black is hoping if he can get some chance like that. He's waiting to see if he'll get a chance like that. If he gets that, then it's game over, basically.
so so White should never allow bishop a3.
Not bishop a3, white should not allow bishop c1, but okay, he's playing f4. Okay, way he realizes that he can't passively defend, he has to take his chances. So he's opening up the position. He wants to create his own activity now. And
F4, I was also thinking about
ef4
it.
and he plays e5. That was a very quick move. Black is going to play bishop c5 most likely here, and then I think he'll play rook takes f4. I have a feeling that Sindarov missed some chances in the last few moves because now there's definitely a good amount of counter play for white. I don't think I
Uh,
actually start to think white has some good chances to, like win this position even because the queen and two rooks and bishop all are aiming at the black king, and there is very little protection for the black king right now comparatively. It is very unsafe position because there's always some bishop f6 or rook f6 sacrifice ideas even coming up soon. And also some queen e4 check might come up suddenly and this b7 rook can be hanging. Actually, there is a
yeah,
tactic. If you can see rook,
suddenly White's position looks like little dominating. Yeah.
correct. Also, there is actually this tactic which might could have been considered. Rook d4, bishop d4, queen e4 check, attacking the rook and the king. And if king h8, queen takes b7. But then there is queen h5, queen f3. But might have slightly liquidated the sacrifice. So maybe Wei Yi thought he'll just wait for some more time and build the pressure before going for this queen e4 tricks.
Okay.
And we have queen f3 on the board. So he's attacking the rook. Queen e4 check might come, but the king might go up. Also, there is a very funny line. Rook f7, rook g1 check, king h3, rook h1, king g4. But okay, he played queen e4.
Okay. Queen e4 check, rook, king g8.
And he's
What is the
playing
latest?
g4. So he's defending the h5 pawn. And he's saying, when the right moment comes, I'll play g5. Not immediately, but when the right moment comes. So rook h1, idea is to attack the bishop and bring the other rook and give a check if required. And to the audience, if bishop g3, rook g, okay, he went king g3. Yeah. So the game has,
Instead of rook h1, rook g1 check was better, no?
no, rook g1 check. I think he'll anyway go king h2. And if rook h1, there was queen takes h1,
Okay, okay.
like this.
So
So
is
that is
that
why he
still
went.
equal? Mm.
Yeah, it's actually very sharp. And with 10 seconds, either side can make mistakes. They're just playing very quickly here. And bishop e7, nice move. Actually, I like bishop e7 a lot because now the queen is going to enter on h4. After bishop takes e7, queen takes e7. And
Yeah,
is actually in trouble, I feel like. White is a bit in trouble. White's king has to run to safety, but I don't think it's that easy for white.
actually, white got little better, but then again they let their advantage.
Yeah, I have a feeling this queen f3, queen e4, white made some unnecessary moves with the queen. Okay, this definitely is just too risky. Just letting there must be some sort of a way to checkmate that king. Rook h2 looks very good. Some rook h2 looks like, rook h2. Yeah, I actually think rook h2 might be winning for black.
Rook h2.
Rook h2 with the idea of
Oh,
queen f2 or rook f2 looks dominating. Okay, rook e1, similar. He just wants to basically control the e file so that now queen h2 check or queen g5 check will come next to moves. So if queen f3 now, queen g5, king g3, rook e3, you lose the queen. And yeah, okay, he lose the.
okay. They allowed somehow queen h4 check. That is a mistake, right?
Yes, so pushing that g4 was the mistake, pushing that pawn to defend. Now it is just lost. The rook is gone on d4. Wow. So where he lost, I think he resigned. Yeah. Wow.
Oh shit.
So
Taking that pawn was a mistake
I mean,
on d4.
no, even without d4, the biggest problem here is the queen h4 line. It's
The
not
gap.
easy to defend this queen h4 because queen h4 and then rook h3 or queen h3, lot of checks are there coming up. And it is kind of like lot of checks and very risky position. There is
But
some insane draw which could have happened with king g2, and the point being after queen h4 you have to do a full rook sacrifice, king f8, then you give a check, you give another check, and like kind of repetition.
but this would be very difficult to calculate with
There's
less
10
time.
seconds on the clock. You just cannot simply give up your rook. And the point is, even after king e8, queen c6, king d8, queen d6, king c8, your brain will think the king will be able to escape the checks.
Uh,
But there is
but
no
like,
possibility to escape the checks, basically.
yeah, anyways, those two ranks are little open, no pieces to defend.
Yeah, and this
So the
queen and
goal
rook
is
is completely out of the game. Kind
of
of, they
the
are locked
game.
in their own H file world. So it's just this queen versus the king. So this would have
Uh,
been an incredible defense, going king g2,
yeah.
queen h4, and the point is if king h7, there was queen e4, and it's so yeah. I mean, in a way, actually, I think this game, Sindarov did deserve to win. I
Yeah, he
even though
was
for a
playing.
long period of time it was equal, like in this position and all, even though the computer might have said it is equal, I have a feeling this was a position very tough to play from a human perspective because it is very tough to defend c2 and with no counterplay. So Sindarov kept on pressing, and but he
Mm,
did end up giving a chance for black somewhere around here. This f4 he should not have allowed. He should have kind of gone rook f8, not allowed f4 that easily to happen. Once f4 happened, definitely white had quite a bit of chances, no doubt about it. But for the predominantly for a large part of the game, Sindaro was the one who was kind of controlling the game. So I think he kind of outplayed Vegi, you can say, even though the evaluation stayed about equal throughout the game.
But like when white got f4, it became advantage white. Like they got 1.1 or something.
I mean, F4, yes, as I said, I don't know if it's 1.1, but certainly, white is the one, as I said, some E6 is weak, G6 check might come with the queen, D4 pawn was hanging. There was a lot of tactics that might favor white, all of it. So it was clearly white had initiative there. So the initiative was shifting to white at that point in time. But, then white misplayed it with this G4 move. Because if not for G4, I was actually going to say this to the audience, but the game went too quickly. Imagine if this position on the board, but if the king was not on G2, but imagine the king is on G4, Manoj.
Hmm.
In this position, if
Mm-hmm.
if the king was on G4, imagine how safe the
Okay.
king would actually be.
Okay. No checks, nothing.
No checks, you are
Okay.
defending h5 pawn, and then you
And
are free to play whatever you want with your rooks. Because even if they capture c2 for some reason as black, it is not a
hmm.
check.
Correct, correct.
So yeah, I was going to say, like, in this moment, my move actually, I was going to say is white should have played king h3. This was my choice.
Okay, so that they can go to
If they give a
G4
check,
and
I'll go king g4.
hmm.
I didn't want it to play queen e4 because I can play this anytime. It's a check. But I wanted to defend this. So my idea was actually I should go king h3 here. So next move, if I want, I'll give a check and go king g4. King on g4
Oh,
is much safe and secure than on g2. And if this was played, I have a strong feeling white could have actually beaten black.
yeah, because
Because,
that E6 is also blocking the diagonal for the queen for any check.
correct, no check from this diagonal. This check also won't come. There is no f5 or h5 pawn check. Only thing that black can try to do is something like this, which we need to be careful. Imagine that's a very silly mate it's going to happen. Like here means here, and if king g4, queen h5.
Oh, okay.
So bishop e7 is the only trick for which maybe we need to be a bit careful. I'm not sure what I would do immediately. My first thought is I can go queen g4, I mean queen e4, and
But for rook h1 check, we also have rook h2, right?
actually yes, you are right. Actually, we have that. My bad. Yeah, this we can defend it this way. Correct. You are right. Yeah, we could play this, and it is good for white.
Hmm.
Yeah. So this was, I think, the best try for white. Instead of queen e4, I would say this is a small mistake in my opinion. I would have gone king h3 here, trying to get king g4. And then then my focus would have been to eliminate this bishop so that I can go rook f8 and go queen e4 and basically checkmate.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the live players video, how last 1 or 2 minutes
Yeah,
on YouTube.
I don't know, the emotions I would be fun to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so
I mean,
basically,
it's like how he entered finals with a rook blunder. He
yeah.
lost the finals with a rook blunder.
Kind of, yeah, poetic justice, we can say. Um, so yeah, so basically that ends the tie break.
Yeah.
There's no further tie
So,
break because it's one and a
yeah.
half, and we have a new world
World
champion,
Cup winner.
World Cup champion, not world champion, World Cup champion. And I think
Yeah, now,
maybe do people ask you like I mean if someone who knows you play chess and do they ask you this question like difference between World Cup, World Championship, different these titles?
I mean, all these things, people who follow the game closely, they know. I know
Correct.
what is a World Cup. I know what is a World Champ. Now they are coming up with this new decathlon kind of a format where you have to combine all three formats, right? That is also
Correct.
being discussed. So I think that would be very interesting because the same tournament will have all three formats, right? Rapid, Blitz, and
Yes, it is called something like total championship or some complete world champion, something like that. It is just
mm,
one more but all of it has a very similar, how do you call, naming, like world something, right? With something added at front or added to the behind.
Mhm.
So it is in a way confusing for a normal non-chess audience, because normally if you think World Cup champion means what we will think, oh, like Cup cricket, right? Oh, that means that's
Yeah.
the person who wins the But no, if you win the
Mhm.
World Cup, you don't win, don't become the world champion, you become only the World Cup champion.
Cup
There is a separate world
champion.
champion title, which for which this is a qualifier to that.
But I kind of feel that winning World Cup is kind of, I mean, World Championship is good, but winning World Cup in the same tournament, you end up beating a lot of people. Like take Sindarov who has won this. He beat Wei. He has to beat, on the way. I think who else did he beat? Did he beat any 2700 player?
He beat Arjun, right?
No, no, not Wei. Sindarov.
Sindarov, you're talking. Okay. I think last round he beat Yakubov.
Mm.
And before that, who was he playing against? I think in
What?
quarterfinals, where he was playing, I mean, sorry, Sindarov was playing the Mexican Martinez. So Martinez is
He
about
was also.
2650. Martinez is not that
Mm.
strong.
But like this tournament, he played very well. He played like his tournament rating would be 2750 plus easily.
Yeah, and then he in
So,
round five he beat that Frederick Swan from Germany, who is also 2650 plus. And I
uh,
think in round four, I mean, sorry, Sindarov, he beat, who did he beat the previous round? I think, um, I'm confusing myself with Wei and Sindarov, but Sindarov did beat Swan Frederick. And then before that, I think Sindaro on round four. So the whole path of Sindaro was he beat Yu Yangi. So he actually eliminated another
uh,
very solid Chinese grandmaster in
26.
round four. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And in round three, if we look at Sindaro, I think he eliminated, let me see the results, whom he eliminated. He eliminated someone fairly strong. Not sure who though. Let me check.
Yu
Sundaro.
Yang.
He eliminated Grandmaster Nicholas Theodorou. He's around 2500, 2550 or 60 from Greece. That was in round
Mm.
three. And in round two, Sindarov eliminated Nikita Petrov, 2500 Grandmaster. And in round one, I think he got a bye, because round one generally top
Mm.
players, they don't
Yeah, yeah.
play. They just get a point to the next round. So yeah, round one he did not play. So yeah, so comparatively, the only 2700 player he eliminated was like Yu Yangi and
Very,
Wei.
very Chinese. Okay.
All the other players he eliminated were like 2650 plus players.
Yeah. But again, when you are playing in a tournament like this, where you end up playing different people, and in a world championship match, like you just play against one person, right? Like, so they will tend to know more about the opponent because their playing style, the preparation narrows down into something. But here it is very random, right? You don't know who will get paired up with which round or like when you will play whom. So I think in that sense, World Cup is also a little difficult. It's not easy to win.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, because the playing level is very vast, wide among your opponents, and have different playing strengths. And we did see a whole lot of 2600 players eliminating 2700 players very early on, round two, round three in the World Cup. So it requires a slightly unique skill set than a World Championship, because another one, this is like a two match tiebreakers, like two games you get and then you have to win, or then you go to tie break. There also you get two games in a time control. Then again you go to next tiebreaker, so on. So the skill set is more complete here. If you look at it, it is in a way like that complete championship that we are talking about. You start with classical, If you cannot beat the player, then you take them to rapid.
Yeah.
If you cannot beat them, then you take them to blitz. If you
Blitz.
cannot beat them, you go to Armageddon. So you need a
Mm.
lot of different skill sets. But to play the world championship match where you clearly know the opponent way ahead of time, you know the whole pairings, everything, and all of it, you need to prepare for only one player and you need to be extremely well prepared in the opening. That's like the two major areas you will work on for a world
Mm.
championship match. But for World Cup, you can't prepare for all your opponents. It's just practically impossible to guess who you will play in semi-finals or quarterfinals with all the permutation and combination.
Mm.
Yeah,
So in that sense, it means your natural skill is being tested, right?
that
Like
is
your
true.
actual chess skill is being tested. So yeah, that's why like even top players, like say for example Gukesh, who is a world champion who got eliminated in round two or three, third round or fourth round, I don't know. So I mean, yeah, he's a good player, but that's what like one if even if you're a world champion, you can't say that you are the in best player in the world.
It
You
is
know, that's
currently the
how.
situation. Currently, if let's
Yeah.
say Magnus was the world champion, we can easily say he's also the best player in the world. But
Yeah, see, Magnus' case is different. I understand that, but
yeah,
like what I'm trying to say is like the nature of the game is in such a way that like you unless you are exceptionally talented, say for example, Magnus is one exception, or maybe in those days Bobby Fischer was
yeah.
one exception, or Kasparov. The very few players, but like generally overall, even if you are a 2,700 or 2,750 player, but that consistency is like very difficult to maintain. So you can't be sure that okay, I have reached 2,700. I'm better than like I'm the top 1%. You cannot be very confident that you belong in that range.
Exactly. So I would say, there is around 25 to 30 players in the top, right?
Mm.
With the,
Mm.
let's say, the exception of Magnus, all the other 20 players odd. It is kind of like on any given day, any of them can beat the other player. Like,
Mm.
they
True,
are
true.
slightly stronger than, let's say, the players below the top 30. And the numbers rating that differentiates them is like only like 15 points, 20 points, 30 points at best between each other. But as we said, like, it will kind of be like, one tournament Arjun might win, next tournament Preg might win, next one Anish Giri will win, another one, someone else will win. So but the players who they play will all be the same, but a new player will keep on winning. Because as we are in a kind of a situation where Magnus completely dominated the game. He still is slightly better than all the opponents. But after that, everyone is very close to each other in level. It is just
True.
if it's a good day, they'll beat the other person. If not, it will be a draw kind of a situation there. And as we were talking about Magnus, I don't know if you know this. Yesterday, there was a chess.com title Tuesday, which is a tournament
Tuesday.
they conduct, and Indian Grandmaster Pranesh, he beat Magnus yesterday in that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah, even
so we are seeing a more and more young Indian players beating Magnus in these blitz and rapid tournaments. But
Title
it
Tuesday is 5+0, right?
but I think title Tuesday is 3+2 if I'm not wrong. So yeah.
Plus two. I think 5+0.
It's a
Okay.
it's a it's, it's a
Because
tournament that's conducted very regularly in chess.com, and um, Pranesh is to the audience who are not very serious chess followers. Pranesh is around 2600, slightly above 2600 if I'm not wrong. And incredible result to beat Magnus, and he also won the tournament title Tuesday. He tied with Magnus, but he beat Magnus on tie breaks basically. He won Magnus in the tournament as well, and also on tie breaks he had better tie breaks than Magnus, and Pranesh won. And story of Pranesh also shows the depth of Indian chess. Like, we always talk about Arjun, Prag,
Prakash.
Gukesh, and kind of now we stop there. Often we don't go further down that to see who is there. But we have so many young players within in the age of, let's say, 16 to 20 or 22, who are also very, very good. Pranesh, we have a player called Pranav, from Chennai.
Yeah,
Uh,
Pranav.
yeah, we have
And a
Pranav.
lot of there even in World Cup, the Karthikeyan Venkatraman, no? One player he came to round three, round four. He beat Levon. He beat some top grandmaster, right?
Um,
Karthikeyan Venkatraman.
the Dipta and Ghosh eliminated Nepomniachtchi. That happened early on
Ah,
in the match.
yeah,
And Aronian was eliminated by Arjun in this tournament. Um, I
yeah,
believe
yeah,
you are mentioning
yeah.
the player who went. Hari Krishna was there, but Hari Krishna is very well known. He's not a new player.
No, no. This Karthikeyan Venkatraman, he beat some top players. He
Yeah,
reached like 3 or 4 rounds, I guess.
yeah, you are right. So I heard Karthikeyan, but yeah, Karthik Venkatraman. Yes, he did go
Karthik.
deep into. Yeah.
Okay, Karthikeyan Murli is another player, right? Like
Yes,
he's
yeah.
a.
There we have another grandmaster called Karthikeyan Murli,
Ah,
who got eliminated very early on in this tournament.
yeah.
I think round one or
I think
round two.
Karthik Venkatraman he beat Arvind
Yes,
Chidambaram.
he eliminated a few strong players. So Karthik is actually a national champion of India. Like, he won the
Oh, okay.
nationals. I know once he won for sure, maybe twice. I'm not sure about second time he won, but he's been a strong player in the 2500 to 2600 for a long time, but hasn't had big tournament invites or anything as such. But and also not often talked as much as this other players, this trio. Because even now that we talk about this trio, earlier we used to, or when media would report, they'd also talk about Nihal, but Nihal is not covered that much now in the media. It's Prag,
True.
Arjun, and Gukesh primarily. And if we talk from female Indian chess perspective, it is Vaishali
Divya.
and Divya Deshmukh primarily, these two players. Yeah.
Karthik Venkatraman beat Lei Kwang Liam.
Correct. I think so. You might be right.
No,
Yeah.
no, I think the,
He came all
no,
the way up
Lei
to round.
to
Let me check. Yeah, no, he got
round four,
eliminated by
round
Lee Kwang Liam, I
five
believe.
Lei Kwang Liam. Yeah, round four he played. Correct, correct.
Yeah, he played Lee Kwang Liam on round four, but on round three, he eliminated Karthik eliminated someone on tie breaks. They played a very long tie break. I remember that. And he eliminated this Deek Bogdan Daniel. He's a grandmaster from Europe, around 2600 plus, close to 2700 actually, Deek Bogdan. So he eliminated
Uh,
him. And yeah, he had a pretty solid run. Dipta and
mm.
Ghosh also had an interesting run eliminating Nepomniachtchi. So interesting. Yeah, great.
And yeah, so I think there was another player called Pranav. He
Yes.
also. Uh,
So there's actually two Pranavs who are grandmasters in India. One is Pranav and another is Pranav Anand, if I'm not wrong, from Karnataka. So
okay.
Pranav from Chennai is the player whom is like the player who's like he won even the Chennai Grandmasters.
Last
That's
year.
being held every year in Chennai for the past 2 to 3 years. So that one. So yeah, so we have bunch of uh, young talents who are in the 15 to 22, 23 age, who are grandmasters, who can beat any strong player at any given day. It is just that. So earlier, there used to be like very rarely an Indian players will get invitation, but now it has come to a point like organizers have to pick and choose how many Indians they have to invite to a tournament to keep the event kind of balanced, because imagine if they give half the invitation to Indian players, then for organizing purposes it becomes tough for them. So one organizer will invite Preg, one will invite Gukesh, one will invite Arjun. You don't want like let's say one third or half your invited players to be Indians. That is also in a way it's a problem of good problem that we have so many strong
Plenty.
players, but also at the same time it limits any possible invitation to the other players because all the invitation kind of gets uh, kind of like rotated among the players. This limiting the number of invites that you can possibly get. Yeah.
Uh,
So
so
that's
yesterday Pranesh won till Tuesday, or who won? I mean, like
Pranesh,
Magnus.
Pranesh,
Pranesh.
Pranesh.
And
Yeah.
then another player called Pranav V and two Pranavs you were saying. Okay, okay.
Yeah, so there is
Yeah.
Pranav Anand, V Pranav, the
Prabhakar.
Pranav who you are referring to most likely. And Pranesh is
Hmm.
actually like a 19-year-old player, originally from Karaikudi. So, from
Hmm.
Karaikudi to beating world champion in Norway, big story there. And Pranesh is
So he has
basically
basically won
currently
the.
like 2630 rating in the top 100 in the world. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. So
Wow. There are
lot
like
of
so many, at least 10 Indians in top 10, right? Top 100.
yeah, yeah. The number of Indians, I think, if my memory serves me right, we have obviously the three, Prag, Gukesh, Arjun. We have Vishay Anand sir,
Anand,
four, Hari Krishna, five, Vidit, six,
Vidit, and
and
Nihal is there.
Nihal is there. We will also have most likely Pranesh if he is there. We will also have Raunak
Aravind,
Sadhwani. I think Raunak Sadhwani would be there. He is always around six.
Aravind is
Aravind Chidambaram, yes. Aravind is there. And then we'll also have one or two more GMs that I can think of. Who is there? Some,
uh,
I think
Nihal.
Pranav will also be there in that list, if I'm not wrong. So around eight or
The
nine, somewhere.
Adiban Sedu, they are there. They are 2600, right?
No, they are around, I think, 25, 50, 60, around that range right now. Because to be in the
Mhm.
top 100, you need a rating of around 26, 25, or 30 plus. And
Okay.
so these are the players we have in the top 100 from India. I think we are like the highest in terms of maybe there might be equal number of players from Russian Federation
Yeah.
playing under the FIDE flag um,
Mm.
and American flag. Only these two countries like US flag or Russian players with FIDE flag or India, they'll have that many players in the top 100 from the same country. Maybe US might have one or two more than us. And also US is
But
also the highest rated country by top 10 player rating average. So
yeah, because they have Caruana, Nakamura, Levon,
Wesley
and
so
Wesley
and
So,
they have
yeah.
Neiman now, they have Dominguez,
Sam
and
Shanklin.
yeah, Shankland, they have Avander Liang. So a lot of players, Ray Robson, Jeffrey Zhang. So a lot of
Jeffrey
players
Young.
they have there in that list, yes. Great,
Uh,
great, Manoj. And I
but
hope you
now
have.
I think Uzbekistan is also trying to catch up with the world as a
Correct.
country.
Yes,
Yeah.
Uzbekistan has, as we can see, today's champion is from Uzbekistan, Sindarov. They have a very good team. For example, let's say
Mhm.
if the Olympiad, upcoming Olympiad in 2026. The thing is, they have four very strong players in their team and very young players. Let's say like Sindarov, Abdul Sattarov, Yakubov. There's also
Mhm.
Vokidov, Shamshidin. The problem for them, at least for now, for 1 or 2 years, is they don't have a very good reserve player right now. And even if we look at the Chennai Olympiad in 2022,
True. Yeah.
they were actually the favorites to win. But on favorites in the sense they were leading the tournament. But in the end, they could not win. How do you call?
They were runner-up, right?
Yeah, yeah. So they kind of messed it up in the like real end, where especially that Gukesh versus Abdul Sattar was a amazing game, which front and back kind of game. So that is the only problem for them. But they are building a lot of talent. Definitely, they are. How do you call a big team country to follow. No, actually, my bad. In 2022, they were the ones who won the Chess Olympiad. My
They are the
bad. Yeah.
champions. Okay, but we
Uh,
came third. India finished third, I think.
Yeah, 2022 Olympiad, Uzbekistan won, and 2024 India won the Olympiad. Yeah. So, that is
Mm.
where I think they already had a strong team then, but very same team. The team that now you see, the same four players and the reserve who is now not as strong. I think his name was Jahongir Vakidov. He was in the
Ah,
reserve player at that time, but now he's lost quite a bit of rating. The same
mm.
team basically like 3 years ago. So imagine all these players 3 years less. So now itself, this, we see, 19-year-old for Sindarov. So think about it. At that point, he was like a 16-year-old player. Sindarovas, yeah, and that
Yeah,
such a young team won the Olympiad, and they are building a lot of strength. Another team that is or country which is building a lot of chess strength, but it's not visible yet. But maybe in 3 to 5 years that we will see is a country near Uzbekistan called Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan
ah,
is investing a lot into grassroots chess programs. A lot of effort is going on,
okay.
lot of funding, very active chess federation, lot of strong tournaments is being held throughout the year. They're inviting titled players from across the world to come and play there. So I strongly think Kazakhstan will be also a big center of chess in the coming years.
Yeah, recently some big tournament also happened there. I don't remember which one.
Mm,
Some tournament happened there. Grand Swiss or something. I don't know.
Possibly. They're always conducting, see, even right now, there's a 2600 plus tournament called Chess Masters going on currently live.
Mm.
And they have a lot of interesting open tournaments, a lot of strong players from across Asia are playing. So basically, West Asia, which is Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, this area, right? It is seeing
Mm.
a chess boom, kind of a renaissance or coming up again of chess. And also not to forget Turkey. Turkey has this two very young, strong players, Erdogmas Yagis Khan and Edis Gurel, who were both in the World Cup
Yeah,
as well. They were like in the first
yeah,
few
yeah.
rounds.
That that boy is also like 14, 15, right? That
16 years
Erdogmas.
old, around 16 or 17, Erdogmas is.
No,
Yeah. The
no,
player you are saying is Oro Faustino. He is a 12 or 13 year
no,
old
no. He's a
Argentine.
IM from Argentina. This
Yes.
guy,
Erdogmas
this guy's a
Yagis Khan.
grand. Yeah, he's 14, 15 only, I think, not 16.
He's actually, yeah, okay, maybe I was wrong. He's 14. Yeah, I thought he was 16, but he's 14 years old. And he's already like
Mm.
2651 rating. So that is what. So this
Yeah.
West Asia, right? Kind of
Mm.
Turkey, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. This is where I think the next boom in chess is happening. So it was like China, India, and we are slowing
Mm.
down a bit, even
Russia.
though we have talents. We are slowing. The truth is, India is slowing down a bit. We have players for the
Okay.
next 5, 10 years, but after that, we don't have a strong lineup, at least as of now. But this countries, yeah, Turkey, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan has very strong players coming up. And after that area, I think next is players would be from maybe Africa or Latin America. We'll see some like Faustino Oro, some talents coming up from
Mm.
those South America area. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Nice.
Thanks, Manoj. I hope you had some fun watching the games and talking about it.
Yeah, yeah, this was nice, to follow. Generally, I follow the commentary or just see the games through the
Yeah.
engine. But yeah, this is nice. Always, you
Yeah.
know,
So
uh, hopefully you invite me for more streams. We'll
yeah,
watch
yeah,
them.
we would love to invite you. We just, we try to see, the important ones, we want to stream then. So maybe when there's candidates, if you are available, candidates is in, I think, early 2026, somewhere around March, if I'm not wrong. So,
Cyprus.
yeah, in Cyprus. So, if you are available around that time and maybe if we find some round very exciting, we can do live streaming in a few months from now. Then, yeah, we are always
Yeah.
welcome
Mhm.
to collaborations and have people in our stream because it's at least more interesting to talk about chess two people at least instead of one
Yeah,
person talking
yeah.
about chess the whole time.
True,
Yeah.
true. The candidates we have just Pragna and the one person. So still one Indian is there. Yeah.
Yes.
Only one.
Yeah. But
Last
we
time we
have
had.
one person in the world championship for sure. So that is there. Maybe it will be a two-person match, as in like the challenger will be an Indian or not. We have to wait
We'll
and
have to wait
watch.
and see.
Yeah. And
Sure, sure.
interesting thing is we have more or less every player is from like one country, right? Because Prag is from India, Sindarov is from Uzbekistan, Anish Giri is from Netherlands, Blue Bomb is
Netherlands.
from Germany, and Esipenko is from FIDE flag Russia.
Yeah.
And we have
Two Americans though,
no,
Nakamura and
Nakamura is there. Yeah, to Americans alone, yeah, too. Caruana and Nakamura. So kind of all the major chess centers are covered. So if you look at
Esipenko he
the,
qualified.
sorry.
No, no. Like for if Esipenko was if he did not qualify to the
Mhm.
candidates, after a long time there wouldn't have been a Russian player in candidates. I heard something like that.
Correct. Yes. But that is actually been the trend, right? I mean, we've talked, a lot of media coverage has been on this as well. Russia's like kind of dominance in the game is slowly going away. We are seeing new
Hmm.
countries dominating the sport, right? India, USA, and newer countries like Uzbekistan and so on. So it's all a cycle, like trend, yeah. So the domination is slowly going, but they still have some presence. That's why we have one player qualifying still. Uh, will this trend continue? We don't know. As in, like, the problem is, imagine we are talking about all these players, right? Yagis Khan, we are talking about Foss Oro, but
Hmm.
there is no equally young upcoming player that is from Russia, that is yet in the spotlight, who is 12, 13, 14, or 15 years old.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Okay.
that means, there is they need to build some talent pool right now, or
Hmm.
work on it. Same problem, which is what I'm saying for India also. Like for next 5 years, 6 years and all, we have a very young lot of players. But who is
Hmm.
currently like who is, let's say, 8 year or 9 year old right now in India, who is like who can become a grandmaster at 12 or 13? Does India have a
Hmm.
talent like that right now? I am not very positive about it actually.
Okay. Hopefully someone comes. Yeah, but I
Yes.
think India is also doing a lot, especially Tamil Nadu government. They are sponsoring many tournaments. They have Chennai Grandmasters. Something is coming up. So hopefully all states they pick up and more players. If they come,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
nice.
For example, even this World Cup being held in Goa is a interesting
Yeah,
initiative because Goa doesn't have that big of a chess culture
chess culture.
comparatively.
Yeah, true,
So,
true.
maybe some kids who watch the match in Goa might get inspired and might uh, become a chess player and become a very good chess player, may become a grandmaster. Yeah, so
Yeah,
spreading chess across India basically. It's an interesting initiative. Yeah, sounds
yeah. The
good.
same thing,
Yeah,
right? Like when Magnus played Anand in Chennai, Gukesh went to watch the match.
yeah,
So, and then I heard somewhere, or he himself said, I think his parents took him to watch the game in 2013,
yeah.
the World Championship match.
I
And like he was
also
saying,
think in 2013 time, Magnus did a simul in somewhere, and Prag and Vaishali were playing in that simul against Magnus in Chennai, if I'm not wrong.
oh, when he came for
That
the World Championship.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I think he went to some college to
Oh,
do a simul, something like that.
okay.
Around that time, there are pictures in the internet. If you see Prag, very young Prag playing against
Yeah.
Magnus in a simul
Yeah.
that point in time.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, anything can happen anywhere. Inspiration can come.
correct. Yeah. Sounds good. So thanks for joining,
Thank you.
Manoj. I'll end the stream. Happy to have you here, and I'll see you in some
Thank you,
other
bro.
one. Thank you. Yeah,
See you.
bye bye,
Bye, bye.
everyone.